What's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of Kevy Eats World. On this episode, we are going to make chicken liver pate. But before we move forward, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. So I've actually never made chicken liver pate before. I've eaten it plenty of times. I do like chicken liver a lot. I try to incorporate it into my diet, as much as I can. It does have some really good health benefits. It's super high in iron and a lot of other vitamins, but it's not something you can eat daily. So typically I'll saute it and throw it in, a bunch of ground turkey or something. But for this episode, we are going to make a really delicious pate. Now, chicken liver seems like something that would be intimidating to handle, but it's really not. In this episode, we're really going to kind of talk through how to go about the pate. But really, it's just a handful of ingredients here. We have butter, garlic, shallot, thyme, a little brandy, the chicken liver, obviously, and then, a little bit of bone broth and half and half. And then we're going to finish it off with some pickled onions. So I kind of started the prep here a little bit. We're going to use a lot of butter for this recipe. I've done videos in the past on how to chop garlic. We'll put this in the description if you want to know how to chop up garlic really nice. What I haven't shown before is how to slice shallot. So I've already sliced a little bit. Because this is going to go into a food processor, we don't have to really dice everything, but you do want to make sure you do nice even cuts. Again, you're going to use your finger to kind of hide, the tip of your finger when you're cutting, and then you're just going to do nice, even strokes through the shallot. And then we're going to eventually saute these. So you do want even slices of the shallot. But we don't have to go through, and chop the whole thing. Now, thyme looks like it can be really intimidating with all the leaves, but actually a really super easy trick is you'll just grab the end of the thyme leaf, you'll take your finger and you'll just run it down the thyme, and then you can just pick the little thyme leaves off at the end, and then you can discard the stem. Again, you're gonna hold it at the end, take your finger, run it down the leaves, and you'll get your thyme off there, okay? So we have our thyme, we have our garlic, we have our sliced shallot. And then the last thing to do is I cleaned up most of these chicken thighs, but I left one to show how we'll clean this thing up here. Really what you wanna do is you wanna remove the fat. It looks like the kidney is still attached to this part as well. So we'll just use a paring knife and just, cut around the fat. You can we don't want to slice these things up, but just to kind of remove some of the textural qualities that aren't going to taste too good. But otherwise, you can remove a little bit of the veins and just a little bit of the fat with a paring knife. But otherwise, these look pretty clean. So now, after I drop it everywhere, we're just going to saute down the aromatics, my brother-in-law's favorite word, with a little bit of butter. We'll throw the chicken liver in. We'll let everything cool down, put it in a food processor, and then we'll come back and show how to make pickled red onions. So at this point, we're just going to put everything together. So we're going to use about half of the butter we have prepared. Put a little bit of oil in the pan. We're cooking this over medium-high heat. We're going to let everything foam. I think you can just throw the aromatics in at this point. We don't want to brown anything. We just want to get flavor out of this. Always season every step of the way. We have this heat over about a medium at this point. And you just want to watch your garlic. So at this point, the shallots are translucent. The garlic's pretty much released most of its aroma. So we're going to go ahead and throw the chicken livers in. Thanks, buddy. Again, you want to season every step of the way. And we really just want to cook these chicken livers down until they're just about pink in the middle. This will take about 5 minutes. So we're about 2/3 of the way there. You can start to see that, the outsides are cooked, the insides are almost there. As these things, you can see the garlic and everything starting to brown up a little bit. We're just going to deglaze this with a little bit of brandy. You can use any type of brandy, cognac, whatever you want. But this is really going to add a nice, sweet flavor to the pate. And I want to cook out the alcohol, which is why I'm adding it a little bit earlier in the process. And the other thing that I want to add, because I just love the flavor, is just a little bit of bone broth. And then we'll let this reduce down for another 2 or 3 minutes just to impart all of the flavor. And then we'll get to the next step. All right, so the chicken livers are mostly cooked through. They're probably pink in the center at this point. The liquid has reduced down. We're gonna go ahead and turn the heat off and take it off the heat. And we're gonna let it cool down in this pan for about 10 minutes or so. You never wanna put hot food into a food processor. It will splash all over you. Yeah. So now that the pate is cooling down, we'll go ahead and make the pickling liquid for the red onions. So simply it's going to be equal parts of water and vinegar. So we'll do a cup of water and we'll do a cup of white vinegar. You want to do about a tablespoon of sugar and then about the same in salt. We'll take this over to the stove. We'll bring it up to a boil, and then we'll pour it over the onions and let them sit for a couple hours. The water just came to a boil, so very simple. Put your thinly sliced red onions into the bowl. Pour your pickling liquid on top. And this is gonna take a few hours. If you want, you can add different flavors into this. You could add peppercorns, crushed red pepper, garlic, whatever you want from a flavor perspective. I'm gonna keep this super simple because all the flavor is gonna come from the pate. So now that the pate ingredients have cooled down a little bit, we're just gonna sprinkle a little bit of half and half. Thanks, buddy. Just a little bit of half and half in here, just to help add a little bit of velvety texture into this. And essentially we're gonna go ahead and just start adding everything into the food processor. Patrick's very excited about this pate. Thanks so much, buddy. He just wants to be in the video.
He's your hype man.
All right, we're gonna add a little bit of butter. And we're just gonna lightly pulse. All right, seeing as though he wanted to be in the video so badly, I'm gonna let him taste test this and let me know how it is. What do you think, buddy? Is it good? Well, he must be a fan. So really what we want to serve this though is we want to serve it cold. So we're going to put this into a mason jar, put it in the fridge for a few hours. And then when we come back, the onion should be done. We'll make a little crostini. Maybe we might even top it with a little honey. I don't know. We might get crazy with it. But we'll be back and we'll taste test this thing. So now the pate's done. It's been in the fridge for a couple hours. It's nice and cool and settled. The onions are done. They look absolutely delicious. I made some crostini. We've done that in previous videos, so we don't need to go through that again. The little guy wants some of this, and now all we have to do is plate. And so, really, if you want to get fancy for your friends, like I always think I am, you could always do the chef dollop. Put a little bit on the plate here. Just slide it across to get a little nice view. We'll put a little crostini here. Take our pickled onion there. Let's drizzle a little honey on top. And we'll finish it off with a little pink Himalayan sea salt. And you have your beautiful dish. Now we have to put it all together and give it a nice little taste here. That's really good. The honey, a little bit of the salt, the acidity from the pickled onion, then just the richness of the pate is absolutely delicious. If you want, you pair it with a delicious glass of Chardonnay. This is a really, really fancy appetizer that really doesn't cost that much money. So if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time on Kevin Eats World.